Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we are talking all about some dated design details we should bring back. No matter the size of your home, whether it's small or large, some of these are great ideas and we have definitely gotten away from them and we should not have because they're actually really great. The first thing we're going to talk about are transom windows. Now, transom windows are typically inside of a home. So like above an internal door between bedrooms or closed spaces. And the reason we used to use transom windows is actually because we did not have air conditioning. And so we wanted air to move and flow. And that's also like the same reason we used to use really tall ceilings in homes because heat would rise. So during the summer, you'd want to open the transom windows, let the heat escape into a hallway that had a higher ceiling. But you know, we obviously don't need that with the invention of modern air conditioning and heating that many homes have. However, the reason I think they should be brought back is a couple of reasons. Number one, the scale and proportion, okay? Like you could use a smaller door with a transom window above and it would make your ceilings look even taller, right? We love that vertical line. We also just love that extra detail, that character and charm that transom windows have. But the real reason is that, just to think about it, when we have the air conditioning on, we have a vent in every room, we have a return in every room, and so it's all blowing and we're trying to cycle air through in each room. But if you had transom windows in spaces when the air conditioning is on, well, all of that air would be circling throughout the entire house. It wouldn't just be in one defined room. That would allow for more efficiency, a faster movement of air between spaces instead of having to leave doors open. You could have privacy, but also airflow. It would just mean that you had to use a smaller system or something a little more efficient. You could use mini splits, and that would be great in an older home to retrofit it. But if we installed this in new homes, it would be more efficient. Now, another dated design detail that I think we should bring back that I love is a defined dining space. And a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, you know what, I don't wanna have a formal dining room, or I don't have a house big enough for a formal dining room. Well, that's not what I said. I said a defined dining space. I love a defined dining space because it just brings a certain feeling of elegance into a space. And it's not about it being like traditional or dated or, you know, any sort of design style. You can have a completely contemporary and modern home with a defined dining space. But what I see a lot in new homes is that there'll just be like a great room, essentially. Like, you know, we want to save money on drywall and studs. So we're going to make this whole back of the house open. The kitchen's over there, the living room's over there, and that big empty spot in the middle, we'll just slap a dining table and call it a dining room. Yeah, but not really, because it's not adding to the space. It's not adding to the atmosphere and the feeling that a lot of people want in their homes. Like, even if you have a modern, contemporary home, you still want it to be cozy and have that atmospheric feeling. So having a more defined dining space will do that for you because it separates the areas. You have a more defined living space, a more defined kitchen area and dining area. It actually just feels more intentional, and it also allows you to do better things design-wise, right? Like we can do built-in custom cabinetry over here in this dining area. You could do I love a breakfast nook. My husband is obsessed with a house with a breakfast nook. You could add that into a defined dining area that would actually take advantage of the space a little bit more, and you could get more people around the same size table. And listen, if you can have both a formal dining room and something informal, that's great. That informal space is for breakfast and lunches and family dinners and getting together with just your closest knit people, the people that live in your unit, right? But having that formal dining room is great for holidays, larger get-togethers, special occasions, and that sort of a thing. But that's not what everybody needs or wants or just makes sense for them, right? Like some people will turn their formal dining room into an office or a kid's playroom, and that's okay too. But having that informal dining space that is somewhat separated from your main living area, it's just a more atmospheric. It just feels a little bit better. It just feels cozier in a home to have that defined dining space. Now, if you have a dilemma that revolves around your dining space or any other design questions in your home that you don't have the answers to, you should speak to someone that does, like me. I have got them for you. You can always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me where you can show me around your home and I can answer any of those questions you have. You can book that using the link in the description box down below or by going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. And for those of you who ask and want to shop my favorites, be sure you check out my Amazon storefront, also linked in the description box down below. Now, to build off of a defined dining space, I would also say a more defined kitchen is something we should be bringing back to an extent. Now, there's a big difference between a closed kitchen and open concept, right? There's something in the middle there that I think makes more sense. Now, a closed kitchen would be a kitchen that literally has doors you could close off to the rest of the house. It's like just the walls there, those doors closed. You typically see them in older and more historic homes, and I absolutely love that for those homes. I'm not saying I think that is what we should bring back specifically, but it is something that, you know, it works efficiently in those spaces, and I don't often recommend they change them because honestly, it's just not cost efficient. I'd rather see you do something else with the money rather than fight what the house is. But you also have completely open concept kitchens where it's literally like you have this one little spot on the wall for your entire kitchen with an island. Like there's just not enough space there because there are no walls, because it's open concept, for you to have enough cabinetry to actually get enough storage, make it work efficiently for you. I like a modified open concept. And if you look at what's happening in the new luxury home space, that is what people are leaning towards. They'll do like a modern colonial, a modern Tudor, they'll even renovate Tuscan style homes. And that has this sort of layout where you have a kitchen that is defined. You have like 3 clear walls, and maybe you have a large opening into one of the living spaces. Maybe you have a dining space off of that. What that allows for is just more space for cabinetry, right? If we can have, you know, a cooktop back here, a sink against that wall with a window, and over here we can have the refrigerator with an island in between everything, it just means that you have a lot more storage, a lot more working space, and you have a lot more potential to do something great design-wise. And when you use this sort of principle where you have that modified feeling, you get a couple of benefits. The first one is you don't walk into your house and see your dirty dishes in the sink, right? Like you don't see your kitchen first thing as you enter, and that's something really efficient. A lot of people like that. And a lot of my clients will actually stick with their older kitchens that have a bar height counter because it hides their sink from the front door. Well, if you have this sort of modified open concept layout, you don't need that. But the modified part of this also means that it's connected to living spaces and you can see them. You don't have to be completely closed off when you're hosting dinner or you're having a family holiday and some people are in the kitchen, some people are in the living room. Well, it's all open and we can see everything, including your family that's watching TV there. You can put your favorite shows on while you're cooking dinner. Love that for you. Or you can watch your kids because you know those children always need an eye on them. Going a little bit more modified where some of the spaces are more defined, like a dining space, like a kitchen, will actually benefit you and give you more space to work in, even though maybe you lose a little bit of that open concept feeling. Something else that needs to be brought back into homes, something that is so underrated in a house, is a utility mudroom. I love a utility mudroom because you get a lot of utility there, right? Like that's what it's meant for. And so when I say a utility mudroom, I mean a space where you can enter your home from outside, be it a side entrance, a garage entrance. Usually it's a combination of both. Maybe it has access to a backyard, and then off of that space will be a mudroom you'll enter into, and then maybe you have a laundry space off of that, and potentially a bathroom. You just come home and you want to have a shower first thing. You don't want to track a bunch of dirt and mud and whatever through the house. It's nice to have a bathroom there that somebody could use to get cleaned up before they come into the house. I feel like we've gotten so far away from that though, design-wise, because it's like we want to have a laundry off of the primary bedroom. And it's like, okay, well, maybe that's upstairs then. And so now the laundry isn't downstairs. So now you have to bring all of that stuff inside. Or it's like, hey, you know, we don't want to have the bathroom there because I want to have a prettier half bath here for my guests. Then you don't have that pool bathroom that has access from outside. Utility spaces in homes get overlooked so often, and it really is efficient when they're not broken up into smaller pieces because you get the full usage of all of it. Like, yeah, you could add a laundry chute to a laundry downstairs, and that's simple enough to get the clothes from upstairs to the laundry room. All right, like where do laundry chutes go to? We don't see those anymore either, and everybody loves a good laundry chute. I mean, that's just fun. If you don't have this in your home, that's totally okay. Maybe you just have a small apartment in a city somewhere. Listen, do I have the answers for you? You can create a mudroom, a faux mudroom, or an entrance space that's super efficient for your life. For example, you can have paneling installed on a wall, maybe not even, you don't need it, but paneling with hooks on it and a small bench underneath. That is a mudroom. That effectively creates that, where we have a drop zone. You can hang up the dog's leash, hang your bag up, your backpack, take your coat off, kick your shoes off. And I know that can be a little aspirational. Like, how do you add that into your home without doing a big renovation? Sometimes that's not possible, but other things you can do are, use washable rugs that are easier to take care of and clean and shoppable in my Amazon storefront in the description box. But you have to be getting creative and thinking about what you can do. Sometimes it's about breaking open a wall and adding a door in by using a contractor to do that. That will really make your space more efficient. And oftentimes I find that adding walls in makes a space more efficient than taking them out does. But that may just be my personal experience. Speaking of my experience, I have plenty of it, and I would love to share it with you. So if you haven't already, be sure you hit the subscribe button and join us, where we talk about great design ideas, efficient design for your home, and what you can do to improve your spaces. Hit that subscribe button, become a part of our LeChic family. I would greatly appreciate if everybody could give this video a like, and I want to thank you all so much for being here, for celebrating with me. I'm almost at my 5-year anniversary on YouTube, and I really appreciate every one of you who's been watching and who has joined us and created this incredible community that I also get to be a part of. Now, something else that is so overlooked and underrated, it's getting a little bit more popularity, but not enough credit, is the pocket door. I love a pocket door. I love it. Now, pocket doors were originally intended basically to act as like insulation, right? You may have had a foyer to a home with a vestibule, and that would have stopped a lot of the direct wind from getting inside, but it would have still let cold air get into a home. So if we had pocket doors, we could close them in the winter and keep all of the cold air from getting into the rest of the house. But in the summer, we could open them up and get completely, beautiful, efficient airflow throughout. Basically, where you can use a pocket door in your home is in a couple of places. One is in a compact area. So if you have a small hallway, a bathroom, an area that you want to divide off, something that you like to be able to close, but maybe not all the time. An office, for example. If you have an office space in your home, well, you probably want to have the door open most of the time because, like, why not? But if that's also a convertible space and you can use it as a guest room, it's nice to have a door for your guests where they can have a little bit of privacy. Yeah, it's easier to put a door that swings in, but if you don't have a lot of space, you may not have, just enough room for a door to swing in. Some people just don't have that, and it's okay, but a pocket door could be your best friend to free up some floor space that's much needed in a smaller home. But you can also use a pocket door for some contemporary homes, and I love that because one of the biggest home design trends in modern homes are big sliding glass doors. There's no reason it couldn't work for any style in any home, big or small, especially the small ones, because it's a very efficient way to add a door into a space that maybe doesn't need to be closed all of the time, but does need to have the convertibility of being closed. Something I would love to have in my home that is often overlooked, that we're getting into a little bit in larger homes, but we need to talk about, is the butler's pantry. So originally, the butler's pantry would have been a space where the butler worked, and the butler would have, had all of the dishes there. They would have plated meals. They would have been able to lay them out so servers could bring them into the dining space in a large formal home, and that's lovely. I mean, I would love to have a butler's pantry. Love to have a butler too, but that's beside the point. Why a butler's pantry is really efficient and great today is simply just storage and utility. But the reason I like a butler's pantry, especially in a smaller home, is that if you have a kitchen that doesn't have a lot of space, if it's open concept, there's a lot of those things that we need to put into storage and we still want to have access to, because no matter the size of your kitchen, you still have to cook in it. You still have to do the same things you do in a kitchen, whether it's small or large. So having that extra storage space that can actually be useful makes a lot of sense. And a butler's pantry doesn't have to be massive and huge and big. Okay, it could just be enough space for you to have a countertop and some storage and a walkway to access it. And that's enough space there, like a 5-foot wide hallway, essentially. It's not just for one usage. storage for dry goods. You can have additional storage space, like if you need an extra refrigerator, that could be the sort of thing that goes there. You can have an extra sink there. You can have extra countertop space for those small appliances. You can also just stack it up with shelves, all sorts of shelves all over the place to store a lot of things. I have one client who she loves to can things. And so she had an entire room in her house dedicated to storing her canned things. Like she would just, put them into jars and make the canned stuff herself. And she was like, this is my room of canning things. And so that would be something really efficient for her if she had that in her house. Those are all the sorts of things that you can incorporate into a home to accommodate your lifestyle and the needs you actually have. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you don't need any of this. And you're like, Garrett, you're out of touch. But if you like a home that is incredibly efficient, that makes a lot of sense, and that has really good design details in it, these are all things you should be thinking about. Now, I hope we see more of all of these things in the future, but there are also a handful of things that I would like to disappear into the history books and stay there for good. Be sure you check out this video right here, all about some trends that are never coming back, at least if I have my way, and I will see you over there.